Hey, it's Brian here from quantlabs.net. Big movements over the last 24 hours. First, the biggest challenge that I've always had of getting MATLAB being able to read and talk to a SQL Server database and all the tables, run a query against the data, has always been a challenge for me. I've always not been able to do it in MySQL, no problem, but with SQL Server it's always been a challenge. I've gotten past that challenge. I put up a YouTube video, a silent movie, going back to the 20s, and that just shows you all the different steps that are part of that. So what you need to be aware of is the control panels, Windows services, set all your SQL Server stuff, get it running, and then create your database obviously, and then you need to, for MATLAB, you need to get the appropriate SQL Server jar file for Java, and then use a database toolbox, connect into the jar, and connect into the database via that, and then you can run queries. That's generally the concept of it. Now, that is a big concern that has been alleviated or been answered, thank you. And then we've gotten into the next big step, is understanding complex event processing and the different options that were available via either open source or commercial, and on it goes. This is easily the most complicated process of the whole, of any of the steps involved in putting together a trading platform. I've now gotten past that as well, and the understanding of it. As some of you have been knowing, I've been using SQL Server StreamInsights, which is very powerful. I won't say it's very easy to pick up, but once you understand it, it's pretty straightforward. Compared to Nesper, JBoss, both those are open source. Very difficult to set up, very difficult to work with, and very little community support and documentation, which I always go on about a lot with open source stuff. There's another one that has been introduced to me late last week. I didn't even bother using it because I probably would assume it's going to be running me, take me down the same path. I just don't want to go. I've already wasted enough time. And that brings me to the commercial products. Streambase, Oracle CEP. I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones that are out there that I can't think of. SQL Server, which is Microsoft's enterprise database, as well as using a package from Microsoft that leverages the power of SQL Server, so that you can now set up a CEP server, a complex event processing server, that your C# code or your whatever code connects into. You create these adapters for input adapters. You do some processing within your C# using different types of queries, using link, L-I-N-Q, and then you get output, which is your output adapter, otherwise known as a sink. That's generally how it works. But reading it from other places just confuses you. You go, blah, 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 blah. But I've got it figured out now. I've also posted the resource for that and where to go on SQLServerCentral.com. Again, this is why I use this stuff, because I can get it up and running fairly quickly. I could spend months and whatever on it and waste my time. I don't want to do that anymore, so I'm using this method. StreamInsights. Works great. Now, here's the thing. I've put together and posted a 45-minute video for my quantlabs.net premium members. 45-minute video to walk you through the process, to give you a very high level of CEP, how the StreamInsights works, and then I also go through quite in detail the actual setup using those adapters, and then creating an instance within the CEP server, and how to do that. Also, all the different types of queries that are available using CEP, using the link, L-I-N-Q, L-I-N-K, which is part of the .NET, especially. I think it's specific to C#. Anyways, you get things like rolling windows, you get group and projections, which is very powerful. No other streaming, any platform I've seen can give you this so much flexibility, and being able to do this on tick. I do really think this will give you a major leg up in your trading strategy and how you can implement trading models. You cannot do this in MySQL. You definitely cannot do this in MySQL. And you definitely cannot do this with MATLAB. But when you see how it works, it's very, I won't say simple, but how I explain it and with that document, it makes life a lot easier, and you'll be saving yourself a hell of a lot of time. I mean, probably weeks on end, probably of frustration trying to figure out how this works. So again, the different types of queries we got. Let me just verify all that. It's very powerful what you can do. We got here, okay, I'm going to give you examples now. These are examples using financial data. We have, as I said, a join and a projection where you can have two different types of queries, join them together and look for maybe certain trends that you couldn't get any else. And this again is not done off of a file or historical data. This is in real time. So when your ticks come in real time, you can apply these type of filters. And again, that's one of the queries. You can run joins and this projection to even make more complicated queries while the data is coming in. It's bloody powerful. We can do things like moving averages and apply it against the data and set maybe simple entry points or whatever on moving averages. We have you can do group assessment on like aggregating data. We can figure out things that we call a big loser. Basically, you can only do a query in real time on certain indicators. So let's say you only want to do a query on if there's a 5% drop, and you can be able to raise an event, maybe put an order in based upon that event on that data that's being streamed in real time. So it's another good example. A filter. Now here's the cool thing. Because I'm using MATLAB to generate my models, if I want, or I could use Simulink. You've probably seen that a million times over. You can take that generated code in C++ or in C, create your own user definition, and then have your data run against that model or that algorithm or complete model, and get some kind of response and maybe a trading decision again based on that. Very, very, very powerful. I've not seen anything like that, and as easy as to use as this, and pretty straightforward once you understand how it works. So that's another one. So you can have your user-defined filter, no different than an indicator what you would get in MetaTrader, but you can get a lot more powerful with it. And again, you can do this on tick data as well. Again, you can't do this with traditional trading platforms. The last one, there's an example of standard deviation as well. So these are the sort of things that give you that edge. Now here's the thing. Because of that, you can also do things like do traditional data mining, looking for trends, run other processes in C#.NET, even in Excel against that same database with your tick data and find other unhidden trends or chart. Because you're using SQL Server as your repository, as a database for ticks, and you can also do historical data for a minute, 5 minute, whatever. You just set the frequency on what you want to log and insert within the database. This is very, very, very powerful stuff. So that's now filled the entire gaps that up until now I've had with this trading platform. Now we've gotten past that, and I can implement this into my trading models using either this methodology with StreamInsights and also build on top of using my MATLAB code generated code, either in C or C++ again. Very, very powerful. I'm really, really excited to get this rolling. I'm also in the next few days going to have, which is part of the package from the StreamInsights, a schema for a database, obviously for SQL Server, but I'm also going to put some additions into it for the position management, which has led me down this path where I'm at now. And we have ourselves a complete guts of a trading platform. And I just got to tie all that together and then be able to manage the positions between the trading model and the position management application, and being able to have them talk to each other through the SQL Server database. And it's getting close. And then from there, we now have the ability, again, to stream data from the database and run different types of queries, different types of models, and trigger trading decisions based upon those indicators, or we will call them filters, whatever we will call them, against this database. Very, 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 very powerful. Now, in terms of speed, I do believe this is as fast as we're going to get, but this is SQL Server 2012. this is where it gets really exciting, because Microsoft is ready to release a new version of SQL Server called, obviously, 2014. Now, one of the major features of that database is an in-memory database capability. I can't remember the name of it. It was some code name, but that's going to be a feature within SQL Server. So now we're not only going to be able to get a CEP type of processing in SQL Server, but now we can take that repository and keep it in memory, or we could serialize it, or we could set up blades and do all kinds of crazy stuff using the power of SQL Server. This is going to get really exciting with SQL Server, and I think it leapfrogs everything that is out there today, and with this new version, and now bring it into in-memory, which means it's going to be fast. And I'm really excited to get my hands on the beta version of SQL Server and try it out, and do some testing with that, because I am very, very, very excited to try that out against a real in-memory database with ticks using SQL Server, and now obviously the StreamInsights as well for my CEP engine. What more can I say? No, wouldn't it be a sad story when I take away the public access to this? Because it's this sort of stuff that gives you the access and the secret sauce that can make your trading platform very fast, and you get the source code, and you get the video code walkthroughs. And as time ticks on, or ticks on, I got too many ticks in my head. As time passes, I'm going to take away that public access, and take away and turn all this stuff into a very, very expensive course with all the stuff that I'm doing right now for my members, and it's very cheap. And not only that, I'm going to be doing a very intensive workshop on what goes into building a platform like this, all the way from real-time data collection to message queuing between your way to capture your real-time data, how to generate your models using Simulink, and again, that's code-generated with C++, implementing into a trading platform, building a trading strategy around it in C#, and being able to use that to, once you send out your orders into, let's say, interactive brokers, and then be able to execute that through your position management system, to be able to maintain those positions when you close them, when you amend them, meaning maybe apply stop loss or a trailing stop or whatever, and then be able to close out once your model or strategy is decided to close it out. All done automatically behind the scenes, and of course using all the facilities I'm already talking about. Again, you get the source code, and I'm going to do a majorly intensive course on this. This is going to be a massive course. But I'm only going to do it once only, because I don't have the time to do this over and over again and regurgitate. I'll turn them into videos, but for live audience, it's only going to be done once. So that's going to be coming up in the next few weeks to months, well, probably weeks, once I get everything all together. I haven't talked about the charting as well, which is another very powerful thing. I don't know where else to go, but I'm getting more and more confident as time passes using all these techniques with a trading platform. I guarantee you will not get this type of technology through the internet with all this stuff for very, 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 very cheap when you become a member today. Okay, after that it's going to go up, maybe not double, not triple, probably about 200%, or not 200%, maybe 10%, or no, 1,000%, 200%. I don't know. It's going to go up quite a bit. Later.